All right. Hello, everyone. After so many trials and trying to, to set up the podcast, but I'm quite humbled as well. Humble beginnings. Next time I'll be having a whole lot of crew. Just I don't have to worry about setting up and doing all this other stuff. With that said, you don't deserve to hear all this drama, but I'm privileged to have Sive with me, Mrs. Maheshana, and I met Sive on campus during our SEO days, and funny enough, I've realized that I've been mentioning SEO too much, actually, on this podcast, and people might not know what SEO means. So SEO is a student Christian organization which is quite popular in South Africa because it's in schools, it's in universities, and that's where you meet as young people and other people. They called it the best Christian dating app because most of people they got their beloveds there,
Yes.
and fortunately, me and Miss Maheshan here. Is it the same situation as well with you? You guys know each other from
No, yes, but we
Dated
with Mr. Yeah.
after, right?
But initially, that's where
You
we
met.
met
Yeah.
as friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Opportunity.
exactly.
I think they had a thing of creating opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So I think SEO was, I must say that for the leaders who were of SEO were there, they must know that at least they tried. They somehow there is fruit out of what they're doing, so they must not give up on
Yes.
investing in universities and trying to do things as godly as possible. Because I'm sure you know a lot of couples which came out of
Yes.
SEO.
Yes.
So that's why they call it the Christian dating app. If you want to guarantee yourself from dating. But yeah, there's also people who got many breakups there as well. But
A lot of
let's
situations.
we don't have to look at those parts. Let's look at those who have made
Yeah.
it. That's more important. With that said, I'm here with Sive Maheshana, like I said. She's someone who, when I met her, she was way ahead. She's older than me, so she was in SEO, and what was the first impression was the way she talked about books. And for me, I was not a lover of books at all up until I met Pastor Mto and then started introducing us to books and
Yes.
loving books, why you should read books. And but with her, I know she was there a long time ago, right?
Yeah.
So it was quite refreshing to know someone, because only when you start reading books you understand, oh, this is why their mind thinks this way and stuff, right? So I just want to give the Sive this opportunity to actually introduce herself and what does she do, and what does she do. Just tell us about yourself, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Shepherd. I'm honored to be here. So yeah, as you have said, my name is Sive Maheshana. I am happily married. I'm a wife. I am professionally a quantity surveyor. I'm a book lover. I'm also a writer and a poet, and recently have gone into the space of content creation through my book blog, which is called Bookstagram on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with Bookstagram, so I'm exploring that at the moment. So yeah, that's basically a bit about myself.
Okay. Funny enough, I was checking your Instagram, and you were talking about a guy called James Baldwin.
Yes.
I was butchering his name
Earlier.
earlier on, and I realized that seems like he has followers, which they'll say, what kind
the
of
hell?"
disrespect does this guy have? And to bring it, I'll just say the right name right now. unfortunately, when you don't know someone,
Yes.
you always ask yourself, what's the fuss about him? And I had the opportunity to listen to one of his interviews after you told, when I saw that post,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, let me see what is he about. And to be honest, he was profound.
Yes.
That interview that I had, I think he was having the interview with a lady called Nikki Giovanni or something. And from there only, I was like, okay, this is someone who I would love to kind of follow and explore and see.
Yeah.
Because some people, when you tell them, when you introduce some people to people,
Yeah.
there are times where they're like, I know that's a weird
Yeah.
guy, so it's for the weird.
Yeah, it's a weird
you know. But when you listen to this guy and you realize that, oh, okay, this guy who has done so much, but I've not done any background
Yes.
finding him. But I just want you to tell him, because it seems like you were really excited about him and his work. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I must say that I'm very happy that you, after you saw the post, you went on to research about yourself. I'm just also like thinking now, like, wow, it's what I do on Bookstagram is working, or it's opening up people's minds, because now you had the opportunity to meet someone maybe you were not acquainted with the work of, or to meet someone's work, which is what I'm trying to do with Bookstagram, and introducing these authors.
Yeah.
So I don't remember when, but I think I got acquainted with James Baldwin because I was researching a lot about black writers.
Sure.
As you know, I don't think it's a movement. The whole situation of black writers, Black Lives Matter, and all of that. But it's, I actually got acquainted with his work because I was searching for black writers.
Sure.
Specifically South Africans, but I was not getting, I got like the likes of Zix Nda, and there's a lot of them, but I also James Baldwin, I'm sure as you've researched, he was more, he was alive during the civil movement in America, which is kind of like when South Africa was trying to abolish apartheid and all of that. So a lot of his work is around black lives, fighting for civil rights, for black people and all of that. So he has movies. He's obviously he's gone now, but his work lives on. So he writes a lot of that, because I think as also because we're black, we haven't had a lot of content or proximity in terms of black people seeing things to the spectrum of black people and people who were living on those times, and how to face those challenges. So if you want to know more about him, you can also, whoever is listening, go search more about his work. He's really, really good.
I think I like I was listening to a podcast, and someone was saying that this was Nota Baloyi. I don't know if you know him, about him, but it's some guy who is he has his own pages, but I don't want to really talk about him too much. But he was saying that it's funny how art or sports had a hand on trying to liberate black people from the oppression that they had from the white counterparts, right? So, can you link? Because I know you're also a writer and a poet, right? Can you link? Why is that arts can actually make people have a voice of reason to abolish, whether it be Russia and Ukraine. My father, maybe it's a soccer star who's gonna be someone who's gonna get some sense into people, and it looks like it's a small thing, but it makes an effect. So I just want to, on that statement, do you agree with it? If you agree with it, and why do you agree with it? And if you don't agree, why don't you agree with it?
Yeah, I definitely agree with it. And as you are saying it, it's actually also sinking into my mind, because when I actually realized that I can write poetry and that I have an artistic side to me, I felt like at first arts was not respected by people. It was not taken seriously. I always had that thing. I wanted to show up more than as a poet. So much that if I'm invited as to come do a poet, I'm like, hey guys, do you know that I can preach as well? And because it seemed like society put other things on the pedestal more than. But actually now what you're saying is true, and I agree with it that art or sports has had so much effect, and I think for the very fact that we, like, if you look at films, we tell stories, we bring voice, emotions, all of those things to so many things that people are feeling. For example, you might be feeling angry, you might be feeling, but you don't know actually how to express it, how to express it with words. Not because you are limited, but maybe you're not as artistic. And I think it's basically just a really amazing gift from God to be able to express, to be able to create for the benefit of humanity, for people to understand what's happening, for people to understand how they are feeling. Because I can do a poem into, like, there's so many times I've written poems and then after going through, I'm like, this is actually what I'm going through, or this is actually what the other person is going. So there's, for a lack of a better word, there's magic behind. There's magic behind it. There's magic behind it, and it has brought people together.
I think it makes sense because even with things like music, poetry, but I think poetry as well has a very strong hand in terms of getting the message across, because it's some form of theater in a sense, because getting into the poet world.
You did.
Yes.
You did do a poem.
Yes, I think talking about poetry, I used to write quite a lot of poetry, because I was introduced to poetry by Chance the Rapper. Yes. So Chance the Rapper did a poetry, and the way that it sounded like he was so chilled and down to earth. I'm like, okay, so that means there's levels to this. Because there are people who, like, they take off their shoes, and I want to explain that because I just don't understand some of things. Because I don't call myself a poet, right? Because it was a space in which I just wanted to explore, because I'm that guy who tries to explore almost everything that I can do. If I love it, okay, I continue, right? So when I got introduced to poetry, I wrote some few stuff, and I'm like, okay, so let me just give myself opportunities to actually do one. And I've been privileged as well to actually host a poetry show.
Yes.
Oh wow, that's
you did.
Okay, yeah. So you were there. You were talking about love, and I really loved your piece then. You were talking about do not wake, or daughters of Jerusalem.
Do not awaken love.
Do not awaken love
until the time is right. Yes.
And you were still single at the time, right?
Yes.
Married yet?
No, I was not married.
Oh wow! And you guys, if you want to see the poetry, I think it's on Genesis Unplugged. There's a playlist for poetry there. Man, that was really nice, because I think you had two. You did two, right?
I did two, yes.
Yeah, all of them, they were really, really, really nice. And I just want you to get into the poetry world, right?
Yeah.
So this is just for my curiosity. I just wanted to know, why do people take off their shoes and the drama that they do? Why do they do that?
Okay, for me, I have taken off my shoes purely because I was maybe wearing heels, and I didn't want to shake on stage. There is I don't think there's no spiritual reason, but it was a form of comfort. I just wanted to be comfortable and be myself. Yeah, it was that. For some people, it's a signature. It's like a signature. Some people do dramatic stuff, man. Some people put dukes. Yeah, it's also they paint themselves. And also, I think it depends on the piece that you are.
I see.
You are performing. So you have to put on the character.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
'Cause I think even the other ones, they actually put like ragged clothes.
Yes,
to
yes.
just get the point across.
Yeah.
So, which means all this stuff is it's add-ons on
Yes.
what you're going to be
Yeah.
delivering.
Yeah.
It's actually quite cool because I never really understood it because I was like, okay, maybe it's something. Some daughters of the soil. and I mean, this is, I'm not trying to be somehow.
Yeah.
Like you poets, you like natural hair. See, you're even wearing natural hair now. And
Yeah.
is it part of what you guys like do or?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yeah, yes and no. There are some poets who are very in touch with the
Daughters
roots.
of the soil.
Daughters of the soil
Yeah,
situation.
sure.
I remember when I was growing up and starting to get to poetry.
Sure.
My sister was actually worried that I'm going to turn to Tani Soma's wife because
I
you know
see.
how she is.
Yes,
She's
yes.
like, and I love Tani Soma's wife. So she was actually worried that I'm going to go that route. Like, hey, even the hairstyles and
the dreads. And
yeah, at some point I did. I still want dreadlocks. At some point I did explore that, like in terms of what I wear and also I think it's also influenced the people that you follow.
Yeah.
So there is that trend of African vibe that happens with poets but also I said yes and no because also I just love natural hair. I don't think and also because I've tried other things and I'm like, okay, no, I'm gonna settle here. I just love natural hair. There's no reason for.
Yeah, I think the what I like about poetry is like we're talking about that the impact that it can have depending on whatever situation it is. It's like when musicians as well, they also have the same power. Because it's funny how I remember the story of I don't know his name, but there's a guy who was in the KKK.
Yes.
And he was a piano player, and what he did, he was black. You know, those guys were kind of extreme, right?
Yes.
So what he did is he was a messenger. He was converting the KKK guys to actually become sober. Like, no, you don't have to do this thing because this is hate. Because when you get to meet another person, you realize, no, this is a human being.
Yes.
So in terms of arts, I really give props to arts. And someone once said that whoever invented music and art, it was humanity would have been full or complete if there was no music.
Yes.
And we can see that music has really made a huge impact in our lives.
Definitely, yeah.
So just to come back, just pause on that. I just want to get to the professional side.
Yeah.
You are a QS, which is a quantity surveyor.
Yes.
And I've been privileged to work on a project at the moment. I've been doing some electrical work, and on the project that we're working on now, the guy who's running that project is not a QS. But he's not even a project manager, but he's running a project. And he made a comment and said that I understand why QS work so hard and they're always stressed. Is being a QS really a tough job on your side? And what is your take in terms of the QS?
It is a tough job. It is a tough job.
Or maybe that also explain. Sorry about that.
What it is.
What it is. What do you guys do as well?
Yeah, I always get this question, and half of my friends and family don't even know what. They just know I'm in construction. They don't know exactly what I do.
Sure.
So a quantity surveyor is basically how I explain is that if you want to build any construction project.
Yep.
You obviously need an architect, someone who's going to draw out the plan and all of that. But also the most important thing is you want to know how much the project is going to cost. So that's where quantity surveyors come in. We are cost consultants of the building industry. So what we do is we determine the price of building whatever it is that you are building. We everywhere, whether you're building roads, whether you're building a mall, whether you're any construction project, we are there. We also have a bit on project management as well, how to manage the construction project as well, and also not only on design inception stage of the project, but also when the project is going on. So you need to pay your contractors. You need someone who's going to say, oh, okay, this is done. When contractors claim, you need someone to assess that, to evaluate progress, and to do payouts, payment certificates, and all of that. So that's what we actually do. And also, I don't know if you've seen the tendering document, whether from the government or the project, we're the ones who produce that. The basis of tendering and all of that. So we do quite a lot. But in simple words, we are the cost consultants or cost engineers of the building and property environment.
But you guys are very much important because you are the ones who give a go-ahead if the project is feasible or not.
Yes, we do feasibility studies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, which means that if you guys, a client comes to you and tells you, I want to build this, you guys have to find, okay, is this feasible?
Yes.
And besides being feasible, you guys, do you have to know almost each and every field so that you can actually be able to run the project properly?
We have to know how a construction project goes about.
Okay.
Yeah. And obviously we work with other stakeholders like electrical engineers and architects and all of that.
Mechanical guys, yeah.
I think if you are in the industry and you work with other stakeholders, you have to know a little bit on that.
Yeah.
We're not structural engineers, but we know, I mean, I did structures at school. So at least you can pick up, instead of doing a certain beam, can't we do this beam, or can't we put a column there? Can't we, to minimize cost? So you have to know a bit, but at the same time, you're not specializing in that. You are really concerned about cost.
So you are in high school. Did you know that you wanted to do quantity surveying, or you wanted to do something different?
No. I think also here's the issue. It's when we're growing up, especially I'm gonna say in the black community, is a proximity matter and who's around you at that time. The influence we have is maybe people in our churches and our teachers, what our teachers are telling us. And that's important because even without them, probably some of us will be lost on what's relevant and what's not. So I got to take in that time of FIFA World Cup.
Oh, I see.
So you know what was relevant there was more construction. Yes. So I had a guy in my church who was a building inspector. So he gave me actually a booklet when I was trying to choose what to do. He gave me a booklet and said, hey, this is what's relevant now, and this is where you can choose. He gave me a booklet from Cape Peninsula University of Technology because he had done building inspection. He was working as a building inspector in our local municipality, and he happened to be a church member. We were in the same church. So that's what I say about proximity and the importance of the people that are around you. And one of the influential teachers, he was teaching me history at that time. And I was part of a debate team. So he was, Mr. Kabai actually told me also to say, hey, why don't you do quantity survey? I had a choice of also doing accounting. My other teachers wanted to, because they influence you based on what they've seen, right? Because I was excelling in both in accounting and math and also English. So there was a bit of that. So that's how I ended up choosing. Relevance and what I was advised at the time.
And then when you're choosing these courses or this course, quantity surveying, did you look at the money perspective of it, or it was like, okay, I love this, I'm gonna do what I love, but necessarily what's gonna give me money? Did you look at that aspect as well?
Of course, for us, money is always there. Money is always the issue because we're coming from communities where, or families where you have to get money, and then we'll see your passion later, guys. Like, we need money now. Yeah. So even when I was trying to convince myself, money was part of, quantity surveyors do make money, because every time I tell someone, oh, I'm a quantity surveyor, it's like, hey, it's either the comment is you are smart or you are making a lot of money. I did look at the money aspect, and to find out that yes, they are making quite a lot of money, depending where you are in your career, depending where you are in the world where you are practicing, you can make money. And what I like about their career specifically is that you can be a consultant yourself, you can be independent.
Oh, I see. Okay, so now you get to varsity, and you've chose quantity surveying, right? What you did at school, was it something that you were looking forward to, or it was just like it was a paradigm shift in a sense, like, no, this was just too much, okay, I don't understand what's happening here? Was it that
expecting?
Yeah, what you said, what you were expecting,
The thing is, to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I was just expecting to learn. So I was not too much shocked. It was a difficult course. Many people chose, because you had a choice of doing quantity surveying or going to project construction management, which is like more of the project management side.
Sure.
So I chose the money side. I chose the money side, which was it was tough. I couldn't complain at the time because, to be honest, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting to learn, and I was not expecting something easy, because they always tell you that, varsity is a bit difficult. You're on your own and stuff.
Okay, so because with quantity surveying, because I just want to try to help someone who is maybe doesn't know about quantity surveying and they want to get into quantity surveying. So you explained that quantity surveyors, you're like you manage a project in a sense and check the feasibilities about it, and the study and the work, was it also the same thing? Where is it too different, or was it in a sense similar as well?
No. It's the same. You study what you're going to practice, but obviously every project is different.
Sure.
Yeah, every project that you're gonna be part of is different in terms of its demand, its budget, and all of that.
Even the contractual.
Even the contractual side. South Africa mostly uses JBCC.
Okay.
If it's a small project, if for example you're building a house, we can draw up our own. We don't have to do the whole JBCC thing.
So talking about JBCC, I just want to explain that because I don't know what it is.
It's a joint building contract.
Okay.
That South Africa uses. For example, if you are tendering on a job, if you are tendering on a public, say a government's job, we have to create a basis or a contract that is fair to everyone, and we have to create a standard where everyone is tendering on the same, on the same basis.
Oh, I see.
So it's quite deeper than that, I must say. But for the sake of watering down for listeners who might not be, so it's a joint building committee like contract.
Okay. So you guys come up with the tender, like you said. I think you said
tender documents.
Tender documents. So like I was asking earlier on, that does that mean that you have to kind of like have a handle on all the professions in a sense that you can accurately give them like the specs for the tender?
So a lot of things like drawings and stuff obviously come from engineers and an architect. What we do is we measure the work that needs to be done so that contractors can price correctly. Because what we're looking for bottom line. We're looking for, okay, this is how much the project is going to cost.
Yeah.
So our main work is to obviously do feasibility at the start of the project. If a client comes to us, we say, okay, yes, based on the budget you have, this is feasible. And then the next thing is to creating that tender document, where in that we measure the whole work that needs to be done, from foundations to doors to like literally everything. All the aspects, no details. That's where we get no details left behind. The paint, everything, the windows, everything. We have to measure that work.
So basically, that's where you guys ask other disciplines to say, give us a cost estimate of what this project is going to cost.
Yeah.
So that is your work. So you send out, after you've already measured up who's going to be taking for the tender. Yeah. So you guys send it to the different disciplines, whether it be mechanical guys for the HVAC and then the contractors, all the stuff, depending on, because there's like different ways of going about that process. So you guys, you get that process out, and then you also send it to the different disciplines so that they can do a cost estimate for you guys.
Yes.
So now after you've received the cost estimate, right? What tools are you using? Are you using like Excel spreadsheet, or do you have like quantity surveying tools that you use in order to reconcile all this information that you're getting?
Obviously, I think every professional nowadays have programs. We have WinQS, we have DeemX, which is for measuring, but the main one I would say is WinQS. If you are a contractor, we use Candy. So I've been privileged to work for both the client as a quantity surveyor and the contractor as a contractor's quantity surveyors.
Sure.
For contractor, we use Candy, and then for the professional, for the client, we use WinQS.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one thing that I want you to do for me is, I just need you to explain these tools, because you see, a student who is doing QS now, did you do QS? WinQS?
WinQS. No, you don't do. That's another thing.
High school,
you
don't
do. You don't do WinQS.
So you have to actually learn these programs when you are at work.
Yes.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to have this podcast is to kind of like have students have an idea of what they're going to be working on. And let's say, for example, for me, electrical engineering, we did digital systems and other programs. And what I noticed is that we needed to know, depending on which stream you're going to be, or which portfolio you're going to be working for. So I always knew that I wanted to work for, I wanted to work for construction, right? So we needed to know how to draw drawings, right? And at least just get some drawings. When you get drawings, you put in the lights where they're supposed to be. But the first thing that I had to do was to learn AutoCAD. And not many of people are like me, because I had to learn it within a month. And I did well, because they saw that, okay, I was actually progressing, I was knowing how to do it, and then they even offered to sponsor me to go to a class, for a course, right? So then I realized that, okay, it seems like there's like huge gaps between high school and tertiary.
Yes.
People don't know what they want to do in tertiary. And even when they're in tertiary, they choose a course, but they don't know which companies they want to work for.
Yes.
And of course, remember in QS, like you said there's the management side,
and consulting firm, and the construction firm.
You understand what I mean? So some of the students, did you know that in tertiary, or something that when you were in the system as a quantity surveyor, then you realize, okay, there's actually different stuff?
Yeah, I think it became clear when I was in the system.
Yes.
But for me, I always thought that I'm going to work for a consulting quantity surveying firm, which at the start of my career, I did work for a consulting firm. That then in the middle of my career, I actually realized that, you know what, I need to be in the trenches. I need to know how, not to bash consulting firms. They're very good, because my husband actually is in the consulting firm. He also did quantity surveying. They're actually very good. They're actually very good people, and I did experience that. So, but for me, the challenge was I actually realized that I need more experience on what's actually, I want to be hands-on.
When you're hands-on, you learn more.
Yes.
Because you're right, so to cut you off.
Yeah.
What I've noticed is that when you work with a contractor, you know what you're going to put if you're using drawings. For us, we use drawings. I know what I'm putting in the drawings, and I know where exactly it's going to be.
Yeah.
So that's why it's important for you to know, okay, you have to know each and every part of electrical engineering. So you can just continue on that.
On that. Yeah. So I actually realized in the middle of my career that some of the questions that I was asking were things that I was supposed to know. In the consulting firm.
And it's not nice to
It's
be
not nice.
as an engineer.
It's not nice. And you are working. I had two guys who were obviously ahead of me in terms of experience. And we're sitting in an open plan, and one of the things that I like myself is I'm very about myself is that I'm a very open-minded. I won't sit. I learned that, okay, I won't sit with this. I need to ask. I need to voice out, even if it means that it sounds stupid or whatever. But at least, I've asked the question. So I've realized that I'm asking a lot of questions, and people look at me funny because they're like, "You graduated. You're supposed to know these things." So I actually I took a decision, which was not easy. I took a decision to transition from just being in the office consulting firm to be in the trenches, which is to work for a contracting
quantity surveyor.
Be a contracting quantity surveyor.
Sure.
The difference is that a contracting quantity surveyor works for the main contractor that is going to build the project, and then a consulting one works for the client, which is the person that has the money to build the project. So I decided to go work for the person who's going to be on site every day doing the stuff, so that if I speak about the cavity wall, if I speak about, a fire door, if I speak about whatever, I actually know how it looks like, because you get to order the stuff, you get to meet with suppliers. If I'm speaking about a certain paint specification, I know how it's applied. If I'm speaking about a 10 millimeter plastering, I know how it's done, so that I don't have to go back to consulting and ask obvious questions. So I decided to do that.
I think I like that approach, because it's quite difficult to, because with me, like you say, that we are consultants, but in order for you to know the work, you have to be some form of contractor. When you're on site, you learn more, because what you have been putting on the drawing, you start seeing the guys, because every time you go on site, you see the guys putting the stuff in, and then checking, okay, is this the right things that you expect? And you're like, okay, this is not the door that you they're taking chances. So it's quite important for those who are listening that it's not easy, because remember, you can't just, when you get into work, you don't know what exactly you're going to be doing. So you just have to start with because only when you're in the system, you get to know most stuff. So I think I would really also resonate with that, to say that when you are entering into a system, or maybe when you are after graduating and you get your first job, usually, I don't really know how it works with other careers or other fields. But in engineering, for example, what happens is when you're working either as a contractor or as a consultant,
yes.
you kind of like have to know all the basics.
Yeah.
So talking about the basics, you guys have sense codes, right?
Yes. Well, what do you call that?
So the South African national standards.
Yes, yes.
So I just want you to explain on that, like how important they are, because do you think it's something that, as a quantity surveyor, if you studied that as a course in varsity, it would have assisted you to become, or is it too much to introduce it in the
stage.
varsity? So
Yeah.
I just want you to explain in terms of the importance of the sense
standards.
codes.
Yeah. So I think it would have been like looking back at the courses that we did varsity, we had a lot of subjects. At some point, you have like 8 subjects, especially if you're doing mainstream.
Sure.
So I think it would have been a bit of too much work, especially for that time. At the same time, I do feel like they could have been introduced somehow. We did have people coming in from the association to explain what happens and all of that. But I think going back to the question, I'm going to answer that, but going back to the question of programs, that I still feel like they should be introduced at varsity state somehow. Yeah. Because you guys did like AutoCAD, but we never did WinQS or DimX. I had to figure it out in my first year of work. And it takes a bit of time. And if you're not say clever enough, or if you're not fast at learning, you might fall behind. When I transitioned from consulting to contracting, I had to learn Candy.
Okay.
Yeah, which is what most construction companies use.
Yeah.
And I never did that. I was never introduced to that. But also, likely enough, I had a very good senior who was patient enough, and I could learn quick, So I didn't even go to training. I was just like learning, doing it myself. Training myself, and obviously I had a good senior who was patient and who was willing to teach me, because there was no time. The project must be done now, so there's no time to take time off and all of those things. So yeah, as a quantity surveyor, you either do a BTEC in quantity surveying, or you do a BSc in quantity surveying, which is what universities of like Cape Town offer. And then if you went to a University of Technology, you have BTEC quantity surveying, which has 360 credits in terms of NQF. Okay. And then if you have a BSc, you have like 480. Okay. So it's like honors stuff. Yeah. So after doing a BTEC, it's either you go back to do your honors, or you enroll with the South African Quantities Association, the Council of South African. Yeah, the council. The association is for membership, but the council is for the standards, to make sure that one day when you want to open your own practice, you are, you're viable. Yeah. You are viable. Yeah. So that's when they give you those options. They're like, hey, you've got a BTEC. That means you have 360 credits. That means that you still have to do certain courses in order for you to attend 480 credits. As per someone who went to UCT. So if someone went to UCT or University of, I don't know, Stellenbosch or whatever, they automatically have 480, and then they all have to practice like 3 or whatever, 4 years, I don't remember, and then they get their certificate. And obviously they have the mentor that signs. So we have this extra work. I have this extra work of doing modules to make sure that I earn the other credits that I need. Sure. At the same time, also have a mentor that's monitoring my work. I'm doing the diary and all of that. So those things, it's things that you find out obviously also when you are still in the you are. They do tell us at varsity, but it becomes more clear when you are actually doing the work.
Yeah, because I think most of the things, they actually make sense when you are when you get a job.
Yeah.
So when you get a job, then that's when you're starting to solve engineering problems, and that's where they're eager to learn programs, because you realize that this program, because for me, I realized that for 2 years, I think, I was working as a CAD guy. And in my mind, I'm like, is this all to it? Engineering?
There must be more.
There must be more. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important for us. I'm just reiterating this, so whoever's going to be looking at this, they realize that, okay, in order to carry these guys from a very young age, they need to actually be exposed to these environments. That way, it makes it easier for them to actually, when they get into the environments, you don't have to start from scratch, but you're just starting from just starting from the beginning, but you're just going on forwards, right? And talking about that, after talking about that now, I like the fact that you talked about even excess and the credits and stuff.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to do your EXA, and also talking about the money part, right? Because in 2010, I think I was in grade 11, I think. Grade 11, yes.
Yes.
Grade 11.
So I'm a year ahead of you.
You were a year ahead of me. So when we talk about engineering, I think engineering in our times, it was a buzz course to go for. If you do engineering, you know you're going to get you get a lot of money.
You're settled in life.
So we go into engineering, and we actually study it and finish it, and you get into the workplace and you realize that where's the money that this So just talk a little bit on that. Were you also was it the same thing with you, where you're like, okay, we did this engineering, but it's just barely doing the minimum?
Yes.
So was it the same thing with you as well?
In terms of money, obviously when you are starting in your career, the money is not so good. And I think also because you don't care about money, you just care about, hey, experience. But as time goes on, you're like, guys.
Do something.
Do something here. Yeah. What I would advise is, I did a lot of money mistakes in my career, I must say.
Sure.
From taking what's being offered to you and not, and I've forgiven myself for that, because now I know better. Yeah. And I'm at a stage where, hey, this is how much I cost, because I know that I'm an asset. I know what I can bring to the table. Yeah. Now I'm at a point where this is what I offer, take it or leave it. But it didn't start like that. I would advise people to go into you can research pay scales. Every career or every industry has associations that can help you would say, okay, and you can have mentors, you can have people to ask, but hey, I'm at this stage of my career, this is how many, what do you think I should, what do you think someone at this stage should be earning in this field or whatever? So there's always help out there, but I think there's this built-in mentality from us, is that it seems, I felt like it's like they doing me a favor by employing me. Yeah. But we both need each other here. They're not doing you a favor by employing you. You're also doing them a favor because you are an asset, because you are qualified, you are needed in that space. But I must say that I didn't always know that. So for some time I accepted the money not the money that I deserved, but the money that I was given. So it was only at a certain stage I was like, no, guys, what is the pay scale? What is someone with this qualification, with this experience is supposed to earn, and all of that. So in terms of money, there's a lot of dynamics. There's a lot of exploitation out there, I must say. I don't want to get too much into it, but also in the construction industry, as a woman, it's difficult because you feel like you have to do twice. You have to prove yourself twice. Yeah, you find that man Like me and my husband, we're doing the same, but why is he earning more than, why is he earning more than me?
Why is it like that? Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? We have the same qualification. Okay,
Sure.
maybe not the same experience because maybe he's 2 years ahead of me or whatever.
Sure.
But come on, guys, why am I not even close?
Sure.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like for me, I've always been the 1%. It's either I work in a firm that I'm the only black, I'm the youngest, and I'm the woman. So a lot of those aspects, I must say that they do affect, money. It's not a secret that women are paid less. For whatever reason, I'm still, trying to figure out for whatever reason. But women, and I'm sure it's not only construction, women generally, we have to fight for our pay. We have to fight to say that, hey guys, I can bring in the same effort a man is bringing, and
even more,
or even more. So I would say in terms of money, it's going to be difficult at first because you're trying to get the experience, you're trying to be accepted and all of that, but people mustn't be afraid to put in the offer. I just thought of a time where I walked into an interview and when they asked about money, I said, it's embarrassing even to say, I said, whatever you guys have to offer. I would never do that again. That was the biggest mistake. I would never. It's embarrassing to say, but I would never do that again. But I realized that I was desperate at the time and I wanted experience and also it's being naive, trusting the people, the person that's sitting across the table without knowing them. So to say that companies don't always have the best interest for you.
Yeah.
They have the best interest for them.
And the business.
Yeah. So you must be loyal to your personal career. You must personalize your career, not make it about the company, but make it about yourself. Yeah.
I think thank you so much for going in depth on that because most of us when we moved, there are courses which when you start, you're balling. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about the engineering world and especially in Cape Town, we always check, okay, why are the job guys getting more money and asset stuff? And I just like the way that you explained it even in depth in terms of even bringing the aspect that it's even hard to be earning well as a woman.
Yeah.
And it's a bit tough because that's just how it was. And we're just trying to fight to get each and everyone on par.
Yes.
Because we do the same work, if not it's the same at the end of the day. Right? So I think I really like that part when you explained even more further. And so with that said, I know you do poetry, and I wanted you to do some poetry for us. And
I'm not gonna. I forgot my poem.
No, it's not a problem. We already talked about that. It's fine. So I'm just trying to think because right now I'm just thinking of my points. Okay, let's talk about books and stuff.
Yes.
Yes. So you are now currently you're also doing books and stuff.
Yes.
And just explain what is it that is books and stuff.
Okay. So I mentioned that I'm doing Bookstagram.
Yes.
Which is a kind of like a book blog.
So I think I might be mixing things up. So
no, I'm going there. I'm going there. Books and Stuff is the company.
Yes. I see. Okay.
So Bookstagram is book conversations with Sive.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's where I blog about books. I blog about authors, and some people that follow me, they're still confused. They're still maybe waiting for me to post something else. No, guys, the page is about books.
Sure. Okay.
I can see some people are still confused. But
want more different content.
We are sticking to books. We are doing books. Books. So that's that. That's a book blog. I'm blogging about books. I'm talking about books that I'm reading and all of that. And then the one you're talking about books and stuff, it's actually the name of my bookstore, my online bookstore, where I sell books at a reasonable price. Pre-loved books, which is pre-owned books, and also just affordable books. Yeah.
I think I like that one. There was a book that she had on finance and marriage.
Yes.
I think I would love to have that one.
Someone already bought it.
Oh my God!
And you know the person.
Okay, I think
I'll try and get that book.
Yeah,
because I wanted it for myself as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm selling to people here, not to myself. So I had to let it go.
I think it looks like a very good book as well because I mean, for young couples like us,
Yes.
they usually say that marriage is the only place where they give you a certificate even before you get the experience. So it's because you don't have a second life to try this finances that thing again, because I think they even say that finances is one of the reasons why it causes a lot of divisions in marriages. So I was like, okay, I think I really love that book. I don't know if maybe you've read on it. Have you read on it?
No, I know I want justice even if I try. No, I haven't. I haven't. That's what I said. Actually, when I picked it up, I was like, "Oh, this is something I could keep for myself."
Yeah.
But then when I posted it, someone was really interested.
Yeah.
So I had to let it go even before. I don't read. Obviously, I don't read unless the pre-loved book is from my library. But if it's not from me, I don't read the.
It looks like a very interesting book, and I mean, if you read it or you do a review, I would love to also check that one out because it's really a nice book. So just to explain more on the books and stuff. So which means you're saying that that's where you sell the pre-loved books, right? Yes. So is it on your Instagram only? Do you have a website and what other?
I don't have a website yet, but it's on my I've got an Instagram page. If you go to my Instagram page, Sive _Sonele, then on my bio, I do have a link that takes you to the bookstore. Yeah, that takes you to the bookstore. And then it's very easy. You comment or you DM me and say, "Oh, I want that book," and then we take it from there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So are you delivering it yourself, or you're also doing couriers and stuff?
I do couriers because actually got someone, I think she's in Mpumalanga, who wanted the books. So I do courier via Pexi or whatever courier of your choice. Sure. And then if you are in Cape Town, we can always make arrangements for me to deliver.
Just drop it, yeah. I think that's actually quite nice because I mean, you just started, right, with the books and stuff? Yes. And you already have people in Mpumalanga looking for books. Yes. I mean, like, it's actually talking about it because remember we're talking about content, creating content. And usually when you create content, you always think that people are not listening or people are not watching. Yes. And it's so interesting that people are actually watching and people are actually looking at what you're busy with. So I think it's quite encouraging even for those who are interested in trying to using this Instagram or Facebook spaces just to do some of the businesses. So now I don't know if there's anything that you want to explain on the books and stuff or
Bookstagram. No, all I can say is that please follow me.
Please follow.
Please follow.
Sive _Sonele.
Sonele, yes.
Right, and then you get all the other stuff under here.
On the stuff, I do book conversations. So if you're someone who's struggling to read, someone who's interested in books, I post a lot of content on that. And recently, I've started having conversations with authors, just trying to bridge the gap between readers and authors. Sure. Just getting the mind of authors and stuff. And I've been chatting to a lot of people on my inbox, giving them advice on reading. Actually got a call from a family member who has a child that struggles to read. So they were asking me for advice and all of that. So I do offer that. I do chat to people and say, hey, this is what you can do to mitigate what you are facing, or this is how you can progress. Yeah. So I do. Yeah, I'm quite open to that.
Okay, just to touch a little bit on your love for books. Where did it start?
Where did it start? It actually started in primary or high school, I can't remember. But books have always been an escape for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started quite very young. I remember my aunt used to bring a lot of books, and obviously we had a very open local library that I used to go to. So yeah, I think books have always been some form of escape from me, and obviously I fell in love with more books as I went to school.
Yeah. Okay, so you choose an escape. So at a young age, what age was it?
Probably 10, 11. Yeah, 10,
And then
11.
which book was your first book? You were like, okay, this.
Shucks, I
introduces-
don't, I don't remember. I remember maybe I was not 10 or 11. I was in high school then. I remember magazines. I think I first got, because my aunt was a domestic worker, so she would come back with a lot of magazines.
I see.
Yeah, so she didn't like, they were not buying books for me, but she would come back with magazines and I would read, I would go through them. So a lot of magazines that, the employers didn't want, and yeah, so that's what I was reading at that age, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you read novels or maybe more on self-help books? Which
I'm trying to get to novels. Yeah, I've not been a fan of novels, but I'm trying to get to novels because I think there's something special about novels. The fiction, something special about fiction.
Sure.
It opens up your mind and stuff.
Your worldview.
Yeah, your worldview. It transports you somewhere. But I am trying to get to novels.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you also aspire to be a writer as well?
Yes.
Apply, which I can't say yes or no.
I don't know why you're asking me this question. I am a writer because I write poetry. I actually posted on my WhatsApp.
Yes, I think
That there's a difference between a writer and an author.
Yes.
So an author is someone who has a book out, who has produced whatever. But authors are not always writers. A writer is someone who's practicing the art, who's committed to the art of writing. So I'm a writer because I write poetry, because I'm practicing my writing, whether I have a project out or not. Do I aspire to be an author? Yes. It's quite difficult though, not because of writing, not because of putting out a book. People are putting out books there. But I'm very, not to say a perfectionist, but because I'm a writer and also a reader, I want to put up a good book.
So you have read so many books and you want it to par.
The books that have been out there. Yeah, I want to do justice to the art. And I know this might sound like an excuse because I've been reading and writing for a long time, but yeah. Soon I will be an author.
Okay.
Very soon. Yeah.
And then which books? Because we didn't really talk about which books did you actually read. Like what kind of genres?
I think firstly I obviously read a lot of Christian living genre. A lot of Christian. And then we talked about James Baldwin. I'm trying to get to black writers as well, people who write about history, black lives. So mostly it's Christian related stuff, and money. I like reading about money. Because somehow, somewhere, I always find myself amongst money. Obviously because of my career. But also,
talking about money,
right. I love talking about money and reading about money. So money, business, leadership,
Okay, so if you were to write a book, even if you're writing a book at the moment,
I won't say anything.
We won't say anything, right? What should we be expecting in a sense? Because this is also a chance for you to sell yourself.
Yes, to sell my book. Yes. You are putting me under pressure, Chef. If I were to, I won't say anything.
I won't say anything. Don't incriminate yourself.
I won't incriminate myself.
Just give us a nice trailer.
I actually thought I I don't know if it happens to you where you remember certain destiny moments in your life, whether you were young, you remember, when I was young, when you're trying to discover yourself and you're like, let's say you're a musician. When I was young, I actually sang at a choir, or I did this. So I've been having this destiny moment. When I was young, I used to also love to write. I remember this vivid, that I was sitting in my room, and I said, one of the things that I remember, I said, I want to help people, and I'm going to write a book about my life. And I was very young. I didn't understand. I think that's why I'm saying it was a destiny moment. I don't understand what was happening there. I just remember it now. When as you grow up, I was like, actually, I had this moment in my life where I was very young, and I was thinking about books, and I was thinking about helping people at a very young age. So I think if I were to write a book, it would not obviously, but it would be, it would be about myself, or about what I've experienced so far in life. I guess, it would be around, I won't say much, it would be
it's
to around.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's big, because the talking about writing, I wrote something like, we're not allowed to see the bigger picture. So life is like a puzzle, which only makes sense the more you put puzzles. The more you grow old, the more you see, this is what happened here, this is what happened here, this is what happened here. So I think it's something which resonates also with a lot of people. So when you write about that, so I'm also seeing as well, like, okay, so it's like when you every time, and the cool thing about it is you can actually resonate to, as you are reading, you can also see, okay, so this is what happens with me. So you can just also be playing around with your mind at the same time as you're getting all this information.
Yes.
So I'm looking forward to that that time.
That time.
So no pressure, but take out your finest work.
Yes.
And I would really love to. And I think I also love the concept as well. So it's a beautiful concept. I think with that said, I don't know how long we have went. So with that said, this is the end of our podcast.
Oh, wow, really? I was enjoying it.
Even me, I'm like, okay, I don't know how long we went, but I think we went it's almost 2 hours now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So it's actually quite nice. But the beauty of conversations, long conversation, is it can go as long as possible, and let it be a conversation.
Yes.
And for those who are watching us on YouTube, this is Sive Maheshana. The handles, social handles. I think you just say them again.
Okay, so my I'm not very active on Facebook.
Okay.
I'm a sharist. I'm just a sharist. But if you go on Facebook, you search for Sive Sonele Maheshana.
Underscore Sonele.
That's Facebook. Okay. But then on Instagram, I'm Sive_Sonele.
Okay.
And that's it. Everything else, every other thing I'm doing on Instagram, you will get it there on my bio, like my bookstore and stuff.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys, for listening to us. And this is Sive Maheshana, and beloved sister of mine. And keep well and more grace.
Thank you.
Just bye.